All right, we are live. We have Marshall here. Marshall, what's going on, man? How's it
Oh,
going?
it's fantastic. I live in Arizona, and it's 102 degrees outside, but about 65 in my office.
And so, so as hard as that is, and it just this it's just been a crazy, crazy year. So you're here to help us move past disaster. Is that what you're here for?
I am, and you've come to the right spot because I just wrote a book on that.
Ah, yes. Thank you, sir. He is here, and that's what we're doing here on this episode, this very crucial episode of the Authority Project.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, feast your eyes and tune your ears. It's that time again. We are live with another episode of the Authority Project. It's the video podcast streamed on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Periscope, where we talk to digital marketers, business coaches, and creators of all kinds on how they've built authority in their field and how you can mimic their success. Developing authority, building your audience, and attracting better clients to your own business. Now, without further ado, let's bring to the virtual stage your host, Brian S. Arnold.
All right, I am in the building here with Marshall, and we had a very incredible, just a nice little talk beforehand, and I am so excited to get him on here because of just where we are in this world right now, 2020. It's just been a crazy, crazy year. And before we dive in, I want him to really kind of restate what he said earlier. I'm sure he will. But before we even get into that, just tell us, first of all, who you are personally and then professionally.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Marshall Atkinson. I live in Mesa, Arizona. Moved out here a couple of years ago. I have a wife, Jody, and son, Jack. My wife is downstairs in our living room doing customer service for a company, and my son is in 11th grade. He's doing his fall break right now, so I'm sure he's killing people on Call of Duty. But normally he would be in his bedroom doing school. So we're all in our little pandemic castle right now.
Yeah, I think we all are in. I think for the first time in the entire world that we can all relate, right?
Right.
Which is an amazing thing to say. So tell us right now, what is your current project here on the Authority Project?
Yeah, so I have a new book called Moving Past Disaster. It was released in May. And I wrote this book primarily because I saw a need, because this country screeched to a halt. And nobody was prepared for it. And let's be honest, that's true for you and probably a lot of people. And so people lost their jobs, they lost their clients and customers. Their whole business may be irrelevant right now because maybe they were event based, or they were sports based, or they were all about travel. I mean, who knows, right? And then what's happened is everything has changed, and we have to get ready for what I'm calling the next normal, not the new normal, the next normal. And we have to put aside the golden oldie days of back in March of this year, because that time is never going to happen again. And what's interesting is that, we've been talking about, in different industries, we've been talking about the retail apocalypse for years, how malls are struggling and all that kind of stuff because everything is moving online. Well, guess what? The pandemic was a warp speed time jump 10 years in the future.
Yeah.
And if your business relied on foot traffic, if your business relied on actual meeting face-to-face with people or whatever, you've got a rude awakening that nobody wants to shop like that anymore, right? And so how are we adjusting? So the book I wrote, Moving Past Disaster, is written for any business. And what it's about is really understanding that you need to change and adapt to how you do things. And I'm a big fan of quotes. And there's a great quote that Wayne Gretzky, who's a famous hockey player, once said, which is, good hockey players skate where the puck is. Great hockey players skate where the puck is going to be. And moving past disaster is all about understanding that your future is out there somewhere, and you have to do some things and some exercises to understand how to pivot and how to change to meet where that puck is going to be, right? If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Great stuff so far. I love it. You can tell he's a pro already, guys. All right, so we are in for a treat today. So tell us, first of all, tell us where your journey begins. I know I've been into a couple of your sites here, and I see T-shirts, I see apparel. Tell us a little more about where your journey began first.
Yeah, well, I've been in the decorative apparel business since 1993. I started my own T-shirt business when I was working on my graduate degree. I was working my master's degree in architecture, and I never finished that, but I fell in love in the T-shirt business doing that. I became an art director, and I worked in that industry for years and years and years. And so that's kind of what I know and what I do. And I'm a business consultant in that field. So I have two businesses. I do one-on-one coaching with T-shirt printers and embroiderers and people do the promo distributors, people that make their living selling decorate apparel. That's kind of what I do during the day job. I also have another company called Shirt Lab, which is a community that services these folks. But I've been teaching. I've been doing a lot of podcasts. I've been writing a blog every single Saturday since 2010. I do a lot of stuff on YouTube. I actually have 3 shows using the StreamYard app that you're using here, right?
Yeah.
I have a podcast. I have a lot going on, right? But I know that the things that I've learned throughout my career can help anyone, because they're all about discovering the solutions to problems. And I first started looking at different ways of looking at things back when I was an art director, because I had to think of the coolest T-shirt you've ever seen, a dozen times a day, right? Okay, yeah. So how do you get inspired? Because, day after day after day after day, you're trying to think of something really interesting and cool that somebody's going to buy. Right. After a while, you just flat out run out of ideas, right? So I had to how do I train my brain to think more creatively? So Moving Past Disaster is using those mental tools and unlock all these different things that I've used forever for you, Mr. and Mrs. Business Owner, that you can take these same ideas and come up with new ideas and understand what you need to be thinking about. And then we're going to rewrite your business plan and based on the fabulous ideas that we're going to pull out of it. And so I have a lot of little mini lessons and worksheets in the book that people do to kind of unwrap this kind of stuff.
That sounds incredible. That sounds amazing, man. So let's talk about this pandemic.
Yeah.
Lots of businesses have been, yeah, it does. It really does.
Right.
And lots of businesses have been forced to shut down. And I was reading just today about a bar here in Boston that they were for 22 years, they were open for 22 years, and they had to say, we cannot survive any longer.
Right.
As is. So they never figured out how to pivot. So tell us first of all, how do we survive in this area where?
Well, I opened the book with a thing called the beginner's mind. Okay. And so I want you to think of an apple. Okay. Have you ever eaten an apple before?
Yes, the other day. Today.
Okay. Yeah, I love apples. Right. My favorite is Honeycrisp. Right.
Me too. Ding, ding, ding.
Right? So I want you to think of an apple. So if we approach our life and our business as of eating an apple. So when I said eat an apple, your brain immediately started thinking about the tartness of an apple. Your probably saliva glands started foaming up, and you're thinking about that, and your mouth started watering a little bit, maybe because you know what it's like to eat an apple and the crisp, the biting into the skin and have the juice drip down your chin and all that, right? You get that, right? That mental picture.
Yes. Absolutely.
Have you ever been disappointed when you bit into an apple and it was kind of mushy, or it was way too tart, like a Granny Smith, or it just really didn't have any flavor to it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Okay. The reason why we have that reaction is because we're bringing to the picture of eating an apple all of the other apples that we've eaten. We're not enjoying that apple for what it is right here in front of us, because we bring to that page only our whole journey, or every apple we've ever eaten. We're not enjoying the apple that's in front of us. So what happens is it leads to disappointment. It leads to regret. It leads to a lot of problems. And I think a lot of business owners have this same mentality where they're stuck in the rut of what used to be.
Yeah.
Right. It's like we can only bite this one apple and that's it. So, for example, this bar, all they could think about is the fact that, we can't survive as a bar. And so we're just going to close down. Right. Yeah. But what else could they do? And one thing that I'll tell you sometimes is because of the labels that we give ourselves. Right. So I think of myself as a bar owner, not a businessman. Or woman, I don't know who owned the bar, right? Yeah. We only think of that one thing, and there's no way that we can escape the label, so we can't do anything else.
Wow.
Right? So what else could we use that space for in the meantime? Or what could we do? Could we do something differently? Could we do something with delivery? I don't know, right? So I don't know these people's talents or what their neighborhood or anything, right? I don't know any of those facts. But what we want to be able to do is rethink and kind of come up with some different ideas. Now, this bar, right, probably has a giant list of loyal customers. Hopefully they have a mailing list.
Yeah.
Hopefully they sold merch. Maybe they have an online store. Maybe they could have been doing something, right, instead of just selling alcohol. Yeah. Maybe they could have pivoted and done something differently, right? So it's like one of these things where we have to bite a new apple and just enjoy what it is right here in front of us and learn from that and understand that I can take small little steps and I can adjust my business. And that way I can succeed because I'm moving forward with a new direction. I'm going where the puck is going to be. Right? Does that make sense? I use a lot of metaphors and sometimes I don't catch up, but you know what I'm saying, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So I love how you put that. So my next question then is, how do people recognize where to pivot specifically? How do they, and then on top of that, how did they begin to make that shift when this is all they've ever known how to do? Because it's always been successful.
Well, first off, we have to, hopefully they'll buy my book, right? But I can give you some tips. Well, the first thing you have to do is you have to analyze where you are. Right. We have to understand where we are right this second now with the good and the bad. Right. So maybe the good is that you have a lot of loyal customers. You've got some products you can sell. You've got some really super positive things going on. Right. What's the negative? The negative is that we can't get foot traffic, or we have a large account receivable problem, or we've maybe got some legal issues or whatever. I mean, I don't know, whatever your issues are, we have to face them. Yeah. Right. We can't ignore them. They're not going to go away. So we have to address the good and the bad and kind of take a snapshot of where we are. And then we have to think, using some different ideas, does this even make sense? Right? What else can we do? For example, do we even need employees? Okay. Think about companies right now who don't have their own employees.
Yeah.
Uber. Yeah. Right? No employees. Airbnb. All right. They have employees, but they don't have locations. Right? So what could we do to just kind of turn things on our head and stay in the same industry, because you understand a lot about it? Right now, everybody's discovering they can work from home, right? I'm coming to you live from a spare bedroom, right? Yeah. This is where my office is. Right. Before I was in a co-working space because I liked the idea of going to work. I don't go to work anymore. I go up a flight of stairs, right? and so what I've learned is I don't need to pay those people $500 a month.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Guess what that is called? That's called profit right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So we can do things differently. So in the book, I have an illustration called the 4 perspectives. Do you want to hear what that is?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Okay. The 4 perspectives. There are 4 personalities that you need in your business. These are I want you to think of these as employees that you never have to pay. Okay. So the four perspectives is one of an explorer, one of an artist, one as a judge, and one as a warrior. Have you ever heard of this before?
No.
Okay.
No.
So the explorer is the person who maps out the journey that you want to go on. Okay. So let's take, for example, your business. You want to go on a journey. You want to plant the flag on the mountain in the industry that you're in, whatever that is. Okay. It's from here to there. Okay. The explorer is going to map out what that means. Okay. What does that mean? And also map out where are the danger zones? Where's the quicksand? What do we need to avoid? The explorer kind of maps that out for you. So you need to really think about where you want to go. Right. So in anybody that is watching right now, where do you want to go with your business? Right. What do you want to be able to do? Right. And let's just set it like in a 2-year, 24-month goal. Right. What do you want to be able to be 24 months from now? Right. That's the flag you're planting on top of the mountain.
Now you're not just focusing on like monetary goals. You're talking about,
it could be any goal. It could be reestablishing your business. It could be financial. It could be, I want to develop a new product. It could be whatever it is, right? It doesn't matter. And because there's not somebody in front of me, I can't ask them questions about what they want to do. So we're going to be very ambiguous right now.
Exactly.
So it's really about your journey, where you want to go, right? So we want to know where the good and the bad of that journey are, so we can do some stuff to get there and avoid the problems at the same time. Okay. So put it this way. Think about if you were going to drive a car and you're in Boston, right? Mm-hmm. And you wanted to go to San Francisco for some reason on a car trip, right? Would you just get in your car and start driving west, or would you use a map? Right.
Definitely.
Would you use some GPS?
GPS. Yeah.
You would just start driving west, right? And just hope you get there.
It's got to be a blueprint. Yeah.
So the explorer kind of maps out what you want to do, right? And maybe some benchmarks and some things to avoid along the way, right? So if we're driving our car, we would go, hey, I think I can drive this far, and then I have to stop for the night, so I'm going to need a hotel, right? That's kind of what I'm talking about.
Right.
The next perspective is that of the artist. Now, the artist here isn't, the painter or a sculptor or anything. The artist is going to create the things that you need to assist the explorer for the journey. So the artist creates the processes, the assets, a website, creates the products, creates all the stuff. So the artist is the one that's going to have to create this stuff. So what do you need created to build this thing, right? Do you need processes? Do you need a new logo? Do you need a systems? Do you need a training manual? Do you need a whatever? The artist is going to create all this stuff. Right. So that's the perspective of what do you need to create to get to where you want to go on your journey? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. The next perspective is that of a judge. And what do judges do?
Judge?
Well, they evaluate.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
Right? Instead of guilty or innocent, what we want to know is pass or fail. Right? Did you do a good job or not? What does success look like? And for a judge, what we need more than anything are numbers, are the data, right? So we have to have data. Remember the old axiom, you can't manage what you don't measure. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. So what does success look like? Is it $1 million in sales? Well, that could be a lot of money if you're a hot dog cart vendor on the street corner. But if you're Ford, that's ridiculously tiny. Okay. Yeah. So what does success look like? We want to map out exactly what that is, so we know, are we hitting what we need to hit or not? Right. And it's not. And so the judge uses data to evaluate. So what we need is the data. So like for example, let's say social media, right? We all have accounts on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and whatever, right? So how many followers do we have, right? A lot of people get really wrapped up into, I have 5,000 followers, or I have 10,000 followers, or I have 100,000 followers, or I've got 32 followers. The number doesn't matter. That is a vanity metric. Yeah. What matters more is the sales from those followers. Yeah. So I would take, you ever read the book 1,000 True Followers? I would take 1,000 customers that are actually doing business with you than 100,000 people who aren't.
Right.
Okay. So what we want the data, right? We want to know. So the things that we're doing, right? What are the numbers? What do the numbers tell us? And what is the real number versus just the fake number, right? So we want to be very judicious about how we're deciding things. And that's what the judge does. The judge says, hey, we're going to set some goals. And our goal is going to be, we want to sell, I don't know, let's just use a fake number. We want to sell $10,000 a day, right? Well, how are we going to do that? And we know that today we sold 10,000. Great. Tomorrow we sold 8. On Friday, we sold, let's say 3,000, right? So was this a good week or not? And what did we learn from it? So the judge helps you evaluate all this data so you can tweak and change things along the way. Remember, we're not bringing it to the situation, that eating an apple idea, the beginner's mind kind of a thing, right? We're not going to bring all that baggage with us. All that matters right now is what we're doing from now forward. That's what matters, right? Yeah. And then the last perspective is that of a warrior. Okay, so the warrior is your Navy SEAL Team 6 that's going to rappel out of the helicopter and do some things. Yeah. Right? Our warriors are who? They're our staff, right? And you're like, I'm a solopreneur. It's just me and my company, right? But I hire people to do things for me. Right. You know, I have a video guy, I got a web guy, I got a drip marketing person, you know. So what's a success look like for those folks? The project's on time. They have the tools they need. They have the information for me. You know, if I had employees, it would be I'm giving them a training, or I make sure their computer works, or whatever whatever they do, that things are functioning so they can do a good job with it. And the warriors, of course, support the data the judge looks at. They're going to work on the systems that the artist is going to create, and eventually they're going to achieve the roadmap that the explorer maps out for you. So all four of these things are interrelated, right? Yeah. So if we think about pivoting from the pandemic, where do we want to go, and what do we need to do to get there? These four perspectives can help you analyze what you need to do to be able to achieve the success that you want.
Amazing, man. Amazing stuff. I think if people are hearing him now, you can definitely tell that this person is a true coach and a consultant, or however you want to categorize it.
Yeah. I talk all day.
So let me give you a couple more questions before we get out of here.
Yep.
There are lots of business owners, those with jobs as well, like solopreneurs, who are not prepared for something like this. And I think you've already kind of mapped it out already, but how do we go about now, after we get past this pandemic that we're in? How do we prepare ourselves for the next downfall? How do we gird ourselves to make sure that we don't?
Yeah. So there's a couple things you need, okay? And everybody's familiar with the idea of a toolbox, right? So we have a hammer and a screwdriver and a wrench, and we always keep them in our closet, right? And what happens if you don't have tools and something breaks or you need it? Right? You're pretty screwed, right?
Exactly.
So the tools that I want you to have as a business person, okay, the number one tool that you need is a business plan, right? So many, I start talking with folks all the time, and the reason why they're stuck at whatever level they are is because they don't have a business plan. And a business plan is basically nothing more than a bullseye for who your ideal customer is. So if you can't tell me who your ideal customer is, how are you creating your marketing? How do you know that your results are what they are or whatever, right? Yeah. Because ideally what we want is we want to be able to work half as hard for twice as much, right? So we want to put together our ideal customer. Yeah. And who is that? I mean, I don't know. So for people watching right now, here's a simple thing that you can do. So I want you to bring up the past, 3 years of sales per customers, right? So customer X was this, customer Y was this, customer whatever, right? And I want you to pull a spreadsheet on that, and I want you to do what's called an 80-20 deep dive. And here's what I'll tell you without even meeting you, that the top 20% of your customers give you 80% of your revenue. Okay? Yeah. Have you heard about this before?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you know what I'm talking about. So it's absolutely true. So what we want to do is we want to be focusing right now on the top 20% of our customers, because these are the people that really pay our bills and do this stuff. So are they still with us right now? Or did one or two of them go away?
Yeah.
Right. And so let's say they're still here, but they're, like a lot of people, they're stuck in the mud with fear, and they don't want to spend the money, and they don't want to do what they want to do. You're going to have to grab them gently by the arm, okay, and pull them off the road, because here comes a truck fixing to run them over, okay? Yeah. You need to help them with empathy and get them motivated and going by doing some different things for them. And one of the things you might want to think about is how you can solve their problem, right? So if you can assist somebody in making money, they're your customer. They're going to be loyal, right? If you can solve their problem for them, they're loyal to you. It doesn't matter what you do or what you charge, right? If you're just trying to sell them stuff, right, that's what you're concerned about, then you're going to have a long road here.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. And so the number one tool is a business plan. The number two tool is a marketing plan. If we know who our ideal customer is, we know what their problems are. We should be leading with empathy, with human to human marketing, using our face and our personalities and our kind of touch points, and creating stuff that's to them, so we can get them into our lead gen and pipe, and start doing some things with them, our funnels, right? And so this isn't about mass, boring, vanilla emails going out, right? I'm a big believer in video. I use video for a lot of things. I create videos all the time. I'll do personal videos to customers to get them over onto my page here, I use an app called Soapbox for that. It's basically a Chrome extension. You can just plug in, do a quick video, and then send it to them. A lot of people use BombBomb, I think, is another one.
Yeah.
But the idea here is that you're being human to human marketing is where it's at. And it's about understanding what their problems are, where is that? That's in your business plan, right? And if you know their problems and you know how you can solve them, right, you need to have what I call your unfair advantage, which is nobody can compete with you because you've got this thing over here, right? It's just it's unique to you. Right. And so that's kind of the three tools that you really need to kind of understand what you have to do. But more than anything, it has to be the willingness to change. I think the people that are really going to come out of the pandemic farther ahead than everybody else are the people that are changing right now. They're already adapting. They're already adjusting. They're already doing stuff. The people that are not going to be a success, they're going to be like that bar in your neighborhood where they just thought of themselves as a bar and sorry, we got to close.
Awesome, man. Great stuff. I have one last question.
Man.
One last question, and it's kind of for you right now, because it be kind of stuck with the pivot kind of situation, or pivot topic. But the question is this: people hear you. They like what you're saying. They like your approach, and they want to know in their individual businesses how they can be an authority in their space. Can you just give us an overall tidbits on that, just for them?
So here's how I've become an authority. You have to teach. You have to give away the recipe, right? If you hold things close to the vest and say, "I'm not going to tell you unless you pay me," right? You're not going to get where you need to go, because nobody's going to trust you, right? So I've been writing a blog every single Saturday since 2010. I have a podcast. I have a YouTube channel. My son Jack, who's 16, is helping me with my YouTube channel because, in fact, on my blog, I wrote an article that said, "Dad, your YouTube channel sucks," and it was just because my son's telling it like it is, and it was horrible, right? He's like, "Dad, your YouTube channel's awful," and I go, "Okay, well, what makes you the expert?" He's like, "I watch YouTube all the time. Here's what you need to do." So I put him in charge of my YouTube. So now he's actually my video editor. I got him using Adobe Premiere Pro, and he's doing all the work for me. All I have to do is film the stuff, and he did a video for me today, right? Actually, with me and one of my customers, right? We did a video, we shared a video together, we collaborated. Nice. So like one of the things that I want you to think about is you need to be using video, you need to be getting out there. And more than anything, if you're trying to connect with your customers, you need to understand that you need to hunt where the deers live, right? Mm-hmm. So if you've got customers that are on LinkedIn, you need to be on LinkedIn. If you've got customers that are on Facebook, you need to be on Facebook. And if you don't know these channels, you need to get to know them. And it's not even social media. Maybe you need to do a webinar. Maybe you need to create a YouTube series, right? So you just really kind of understand that, this idea comes from the great book, Story Brand by Donald Miller, is that your customer is the hero of the story. They don't care about you, buddy. They don't. Yeah. Okay? All they care about is solving the problem that's in front of them right now. So if your marketing and your business is set up to make your hero succeed, you are going to succeed. So if you're trying to establish authority, get your hero succeeding, and then everybody will beat a path to your door.
That's perfect, man. That is perfect. Oh, dude. I mean, you're nonstop. I love it, though. I love it. I love it. I love it. Guys, I hope you got I hope we got a lot out of this, because he gave us a lot. And that was just in half an hour. So just imagine if we can just imagine what he can do for you, on a real time basis of working with him. So yeah, Marshall, please tell them where they can find this book and connect with you further.
So the book, I think you got my link up here. This is just a bit.ly link. So this takes you to the Moving Past Disaster book. It's $59. It's a PDF. I don't have it on Amazon because I don't want Amazon to take all my money. So I just sell it on my website, right? Yeah. And then if you buy the book and you get stuck or need help, you can email me and I'll help you, right? I'm building an online course right now for it, and that'll come out here probably by the end of the year. But my website is atkinsont-shirt.com. Don't let the t-shirt part fool you. I can certainly help you with stuff. I've been coaching businesses since 2010. Kind of on the side, and then 2018 I'm doing it full time since then, right? And I help hundreds of businesses in real time, and then I also have events that I do, and I have a new e-commerce event that's for my industry that is at the end of this month. Nice. There's a lot of things going on, and I'm a very kind of I'll tell you like it is, right? And if I don't know the answer, I'll tell you, hey, I have no idea about that. You need to talk to your accountant, right? Yeah. Or whatever, right? And but I think I can help people. I teach a lot on marketing, on leadership. The stuff that I'm a former COO, so I do a lot of stuff with my personal customers about cost optimization and lots of fancy terms, right? But it's all about really getting better and then pushing people to succeed by doing things differently, right? Because if you're struggling, what got you here isn't the answer. You have to change, right?
Absolutely. So. I love it. I love it. And for those who will be listening later, just to spell out that link for you, it's Atkinson, the way it sounds, FYI, the way that sounds, / M. Mary P. Paul D. David book. So I'm not going to repeat that, but just rewind it if you want to hear that again. All right. So incredible stuff, dude. You're amazing. You're amazing.
Thanks.
I'm so glad you were able to get on this show. And I know that there are people we have some past guests who dipped into the pivot thing. You brought it all full circle though, and put it into like a real big, huge thing, which I'm so happy for, because there's so many people who are struggling, don't know where their business is going, or where to do what to do with their business right now. So this is perfect. I'm going to share this everywhere so people know. And before we get out of here, I want people to also go to theauthorityletter.com, get on that list, because we are helping you build your own authority platform. just like he is, just like Marshall is. And this is great. This is great. I can't wait to share this with everybody. Wonderful stuff. Wonderful stuff. I'm going to get out here, but if you have any final words at all, Marshall, let us know before we go. That'd be great.
Yeah, sure. So first off, thank you so much, Brian, for having me on today. I really appreciate the opportunity. And I will just add that you don't have to do this all at once, right? So I'm a big believer. There's a great book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. And in the book, he talks about trying to get 1% better every day. And so you don't have to do crazy magic things. Just try a little harder every day. Spend some time, budget some time, and be willing to fail. Failure is where you're going to make all your successes, because you're going to learn what doesn't work. And through that, you're going to have the success that you want. You know, Edison, it took 10,000 tries to invent the light bulb, right? So how many tries are you on right now?
Oh, I love that. I can listen to you all day, bro. Okay. You are incredible. So I hope everybody got that. I know I'm inspired. Hope you were inspired by today, by Marshall. And listen, go ahead, do what he says, build it as you go along, make the mistakes, get better, grow, and it will happen for you. Just don't give up. All right. Take care. Thank you for coming through here. Be blessed. We're out. See you in the next episode.
See ya.
And that's a wrap for this episode of The Authority Project. Thanks so much for tuning in. And if you like what you heard, we want to hear from you. Subscribe, rate, and give an honest review. Share and tell your friends so they can hear too. And for even more authority building tactics, be sure to sign up at theauthorityletter.com. Get free weekly content and ongoing digital product giveaways to help you on your entrepreneurial journey. We certainly hope you got a key takeaway, or maybe an aha moment from today's broadcast. Just remember, it's your authority. Build it, share it, and they will come. Until next time.